There are almost as many vehicles as there are people in Southern California, resulting in thousands of gallons of gas pumped each day. But with the steady rise in gas prices and the looming threat it has on our environment, more and more individuals are seeking solutions. Chapman University's very own John Snyder decided he wanted to stop relying on fossil fuels and make a larger contribution in preserving our environment.
What pretty much got me started was just the high price of oil. I was driving my motorcycle. You know, if I wanted to take my kids somewhere, or go do some shopping, or do something, or if it was just raining, it's not always convenient to ride a motorcycle. So I started looking at actually on eBay. They had some conversion kits. They actually had some cars even for sale.
Propulsion.
John decided to save his neighbors from the biofuel stench and go an alternative route by buying a previously converted 1970 VW Bug off eBay. With a little tinkering and the necessary battery and mechanical upgrades, he was able to get it up and running again. His VW runs off 12-volt batteries with required daily charging and, of course, absolutely no gas.
The hard part is just going to some fast food restaurant and find an outlet on the outside of it. That's always the challenge. It's like, and nobody wants you to run an extension cord through their door into their building. So that makes it a little bit hard. And it's not, occasionally there are still some of those little paddles, the electric charging stations that are around town left over from the EV1 days and cars like that. But it's a whole different system. It's 220 power, mine's just regular 110, so I can't use that.
John's electric mobile catches attention wherever he goes, and it's quite obviously why.
This guy's got this electrical cord coming out of his gas tank. And I'm like, yeah, that's Snyder's car, don't worry about it, it's electric. So where the gas goes, you just open it up, and there's the cord. It goes right inside the... So here's the plug, just regular standard outlet. Unplug it. In this case, untangle it from where I've got it stretched through. Over to the car, and then I just pull on it, and it sucks the cord back in.
Instead of checking a fuel gauge, John uses a special monitor that records his total amperage used and the amount of power he has left to take him from one location to the next. John's VW is quite different than the old school VW Bugs. His VW makes a small fraction of the engine noise compared to the original, making it a lot easier to carry a conversation.
This is as loud as it gets.
So we went for a ride in the electric VW Bug to test out all the new features.
You can hear me beeping as I back up, so that's the, I don't run over anybody beeping. Which actually is much louder than the Prius from what I hear. 'Cause apparently in the Prius you can hear it real well inside the car, but nobody can hear it outside the car, which kind of is useless.
And the unlikely strategy a driver must have when behind the wheel of this eco-friendly car, especially in stop-and-go traffic.
It's those times you can almost make it through the light, and you're like, oh, I gotta stop, and just all that power that you've used to get up to speed is just gone. You can't recapture that. Sometimes the lights are just so stupidly timed that, like you're going 500 feet and stopping. So it's all this accelerating and stopping, accelerating and stopping. It's such a loss of power. Even with a gas car, you think about how much gas you use up in that situation and how inefficient that is.
John has made great strides to become more eco-friendly, and it is even extended to adding solar panels to the roof of his home, dropping his electric bill from almost $300 to less than $40 a month. His next venture may be taking solar to the next level by finding a way to attach solar film to the roof of his VW Bug.
The problem is the thickness, obviously being film, is really thin, and the thicker the collection device is, the more amperage and more power you get out of it.
Saving money is certainly an appealing reason to go green, but John's decision was driven by a more important and personal reason.
I have a son. He has Down syndrome, but he also has autism, and so much of the environment really drives what autism. I mean, nobody really knows, precisely what causes autism, but everything in the environment seems to affect them. And the first thing we can do, and we've gotten great strides in terms of, we're producing less smog, but there's so many other ways. We've just got to get off of fossil fuels. It's a limited resource, and it's just not doing anything good for the environment. Whether you're processing the fuel, you're refining it, you're digging it up. You know, all these things use energy, and then, you know, we're creating pollution in the process. And so much of what autistic kids have to deal with is environmental. You know, an offshoot of oil is plastic. Now more and more we're looking at, you know, what are plastics having to do with, you know, our lives? And once again, another oil product. How do you buy anything in the market that wasn't in plastic?
John's passion to preserve the environment has even motivated a possible business venture. He hopes to create a company that will convert existing cars to electric, but he doubts there will be a public demand.
I just don't see that business model flying in this either economy. It's kind of where we are. It's the society at large. We're such a throw it away, start over again society. And that's a tough nut to crack. How do we get people to truly recycle?
John does admit that there are drawbacks from the electric car.
You're not going to take a trip to Palm Springs for the weekend. You're not going to go to Mammoth and go skiing, or up to Lake Arrowhead, or something like that. And so there's still use for other cars. But you can make a choice. What is that car going to be? Does it have to be a big SUV that gets 7 to 10 miles per gallon? Or maybe a small SUV that gets at least in the mid-teens, ideally at least in the 20s.
Going green can be easy and done by making small changes in daily life.
I can't change the world. I can't change, you know, what we're putting everything in. But I can take my bags to the grocery store, and I can create an electric vehicle, and I can put solar panels on my house and create my own electricity.
John has made extraordinary lengths to reduce his carbon footprint, but he still does make frequent stops to the gas station.
It's a great feeling just going past. Actually, I pull in the gas station quite a bit because I love to have a clean windshield. So, you know, I go in the gas station to use their squeegee to clean my windshield. But after that, I just jump back in my car and take off and jump back into traffic.